Oh, yeah, that's right. This is the new version, a lot less foreplay on the video before we go ahead and get into this. It is Thursday. I'm JTHayes. You can see who I'm joined with. I'm going to introduce them here in a second. But first, before we get started, we almost didn't start the show because the likes are just horrendous. I'm in a good mood. I'm down in Miami. I was out way later than I stay up most any other night last night, but yet here I am. Here are my guys, Sweet Travis, Big T, Tony Niehaus. Go ahead, hit the like button. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at JTHayes Jr. Or if you're not a member, go ahead, sign up. Use code JTHayes15. That is 15% off of your first month's payment. And Sweet Travis, I got a DM last night from someone on Twitter saying, hey, I'm trying to use your code. What's the deal? Is it good for it? I walked him through it, said, hey, hit me up. You have any issues? I'll go ahead. I'll fix it on the back end. Those are the things I do. You know who doesn't do things like that? Glaucoma. He takes terrible sky pictures. There's a tornado warning in Texas. He's scared to go outside. He's shriveled up underneath his bed, waiting for it to pass. I can't deal with this, Travis. I can't deal.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some sky pics on Twitter soon, and I'll see Big T in a week, and I gotta get a pic of Big T and the sky, right? That'll really get the engagement up on Twitter. So, but excited to be here, break down the slate with you guys. It's only a 4-game slate. We're talking Spurs and Pacers. I mean, that sounds fun, right? So I'm sure we'll get after it. We'll have some good conversations before we kind of dive into the plays. Someone will get upset in the chat that we're BSing too long, but I'm excited to be here with the boys on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, 4 games. And listen, there's a reason why I led with glaucoma and not the slate, right? Who would you rather talk about? Our guy Glock, the most pleasant human being, albeit a coward. Or you want to talk about Popovich. You want to talk about Rick Carlisle. You want to talk about Tyrese Halliburton, who's questionable. Big T, what I'm going to do is as soon as we're finished with this show and I make my lineups and I go outside into the early evening, the dusk, if you will, of Miami, I'm going to snap a beautiful sky pic. It's going to blow anything that Glock has done out of the water. I'm going to post it on Twitter. I'm going to tag you guys. I might even tag AP too because he's in here. And just say, suck it, Glock. I mean, can you believe that he's hiding underneath his bed?
I mean, I can believe that. He's scared of you. I'd be scared of you too. So is that the matchup this week, you versus him?
Are we getting JT and Glock on the slide?
Oh, you're not even facing him and he's catching strays?
Yeah,
I like catching strays. This is up my alley. Yeah, throwing misdirection shots in there. What do you play him like next week or something? Are you playing chess while everyone else plays checkers?
He's not going to get anywhere near where I'm going to get. So it's just that
I'm still pissed that he beat me. I still want to recount. There's no way it was cracked.
I mean,
Nick told me it was, though. He said, you got beat. You got to accept it. You got to move on. So I said, you know what? I'll move on. But I just can't believe it. The sky pictures were really that popular?
My sky pictures are better. I know that. I won last week.
That's a given. I mean, that is what it is.
I was against Jaime. This week I'm up against Snyder, which is tough because he's got the soldiers running around.
He gave bad soldiers this week, though. I gave the tweet out. Usually every week I'm like, follow the soldiers. They're great plays. Yeah. He gave dusty soldiers this week. I don't know how they did today. I need an update from someone in the chat, but I gave my personal guarantee that none of the soldiers were going to make it to the weekend.
Ooh. Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. I don't usually throw strays directly at people, but when they're recommending Zach Johnson at 58 years old, I had to step in and say the soldiers weren't approved this week.
I don't even know who Zach Johnson is, but it sounds like a terrible play. I mean, incredible. So
it'd be like Tim Wakefield showing up to throw a baseball and you recommended to play him in the year 2023.
That is brutal. That is brutal. Travis, are you involved in the PGA streets this weekend? What do you have going? Is this a little bit more or less volatile than the Honda was last week? Because that was a difficult tournament for a lot of people.
I'm involved in the PGA streets, but it's early, right? It's the first day, as Big T kind of says. The first day you let things.
Tomorrow's the interesting one too.
Yeah, tomorrow's the day that we'll be monitoring a little bit closer. But so far, guys are doing all right. A couple plays are doing good, a couple are not. But that's again, we have a whole weekend to go here. We got tomorrow's the big day. That's when I start sweating the cut line, right? If my one guy's like +9, then it's curtains, right? That's all I do. On the first day, I'm like, is anyone not +9? That's the key I'm looking for on day one.
+9.
That's all I ever sweat too is the funny thing. I start at the bottom and work my way up and just hope you don't see your names towards the bottom.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. The other way is to look at the leaderboard and then look down, and then you get all panicked when you don't see one of your guys. You're like, oh my God.
That's why I don't like going that direction.
How bad could it be? How bad could it be? And then you see that ugly little plus sign in front of their name. So go ahead.
It is the worst when you go over the top, though. You're looking for your dudes, and you're like, no. And the further you get down, you're like, please tell me I just missed them.
Man, I played Jimmy Butler last night in my main lineup, and it worked out. It cashed, but right around, I would say 9 o'clock, 9:15, my cheap Philly guys were done. They did well. I'm looking down the leaderboard, scrolling. Jimmy Butler, 25 fantasy points.
You didn't listen to my speech on the up to lock. That's very hurtful. I gave a full speech about Jimmy.
Yeah, what'd you say last night? Because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I played him and why I was concerned. But go ahead.
So my speech was I played him. They played Philly 2 or 3 nights ago, the last matchup. Yeah, I said from his time in Philly, he loves kicking their ass. Like, he loves it. But him and Joel are like best friends. They love each other. They love competing. So once they rolled Embiid out, I actually said, I think Jimmy's a significantly worse play, and people wouldn't look at it that way. It's more of a field test, but I want Jimmy when he wants to whoop your ass. Like you on the mound down in Miami with the pictures. Yeah. I know that I want you when you want to whoop Travis. When you want to strike out Travis, that's when I want you. But when you're going against Glock, you don't care. You'll just throw him in there. I want the right matchup. Yeah, like Travis, you got to look him in the eye sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you got to have heart and show him up, right? Like you don't want to bet on me in a basketball game against JT. I like JT, right? But Snyder, you want me down there pounding Snyder down there while he's talking trash.
What day is that matchup going to be, by the way? Because that's the matchup heard around the world. I mean, there's been a lot of chirping. What day is the matchup?
There's been a lot of chirping. I know Snyder said he wants it early, but I'll say this, Big T. I don't know if you know, on the same day, actually, same exact day, your boy over here rolled his ankle. It's black and blue. We'll be fine. And Snyder dropped a tree on his ankle. He dropped an entire tree, he said. But he said he's going to be fine as well.
Hold on. We can't be having ankle stuff. And
Hold on. I'm sorry. Did you just pull the UFC fighter thing?
Oh,
I'm just saying both of us got banged up in 2 weeks now. We're going to be fine.
There's been such good trash talk, and now all of a sudden
we're still going to be fine, but it's going to be interesting. That's all I'm saying.
I don't even know what to say, Big T. I'm disgusted with Travis right now.
I am too.
JT,
we put him in timeout.
Just that little thing. Yeah, if he couldn't get his way back in, I'd put him on timeout right now. But I think he can get right back in. I mean, all this trash talk. Yeah, 2 weeks ago complaining about injury. I mean,
I'm just saying we both did on the same day. I thought it was interesting. Like literally, both of us got hurt. It was just funny. So
Snyder is seeing a specialist today. AP reports that there's injury news. Snyder is seeing a specialist.
There's no way. There's no way.
He expects to have an MRI completed, and we'll see what the damage is. Oh, Christ. All right. Hit the like button, first of all. Don't forget about that. You're not doing all that well right now. 140. Well, actually, you're doing better. You're doing better. I take that back. You're okay. But don't stop hitting the like button.
Strays in here. This Big T still not think BI has a ceiling. Look at them. Pull up the Millie Maker standings last night and look where I finished, and I deserved it. I finished right on the bubble, and it was because of BI. It was because I took the victory lap with JT. Like, should have listened into my speech about Jimmy, blah, blah, blah. What I didn't say in that is I gave another speech about BI not having a ceiling, and he dropped 60 on my head. So I'll circle back and take an L. I bubbled the $2,500 Millie Maker. I was literally way up the cash the last hour, and then BI just jammed it in after I said no ceiling. $0 back in that thing right on the bubble. So, yes, sir. Correct. I'll take my L. He did own me last night.
So I got to tell you, I had Butler, but I also had BI.
You had BI coming back.
I had BI in the utility, and the only two guys that were cold in my lineup.
You passed me with BI in the Millie then. You shot it right past me at the end.
Yeah. I cashed. I came in like 109.
So now you get to make fun of me because I was talking about the speech. You cashed. I didn't. You get to own me.
I can't listen. I can't make fun of you. I'd rather make fun of Glock. We're going to do that all show. We're going to talk about Glock. But no.
Can we make fun of C-Dome too? I like telling how I'm going to whoop his ass. Can we filter that in there?
Yeah, let's talk about C-Dome because first of all, So I'm in Miami and I'm sitting here. I had lunch and I'm doing some work. And all of a sudden I see, thank goodness for this, right? I see the Run Pure Sports tweet about the best ball show that I'm supposed to be on in like 12 minutes. And I was like, oh, oops. So I hop in and I'm like, oh man, I hope C-Dome remembers, because last week he said the reason why he got on is because he saw the tweet and he's like, oh man, I got to be on this. But we were talking yesterday, Big T, about Jared Kalenic, who was a total bust the last couple of seasons for the Mariners. He spent the offseason, I think it was at Driveline or one of the cams, comes in, a revamped swim. He hits an opposite field blast today. Him and Julio Rodriguez.
He's a lefty too, right? Oppo?
That's right. That's right. So he and J-Rod go back to back. And I tweeted it out at C-Dome. I said, hey, brother, we were talking about this on the best ball yesterday because I got him in like the 20th round. But that's giving C-Dome a little love. You want to give him a little bit of hate, so go ahead.
Well, I was thinking that. And then Tyler, our boy from the bet side, slides in. He gave a good promo in the rundown yesterday about how he's going to beat Big T. I haven't seen that. Travis usually knows this stuff. What was he saying, Travis? I mean, what was he chirping at me? Do I need to pull it? I wish we could pull it up right now on this screen and all watch it together, because I am curious what he was chirping me with.
I missed it yesterday. Again, I know you guys will make fun of me, but yesterday was a rough day for your boy. It was hard to make.
No, not back to the ankle.
I'm just saying,
we already recouped.
I don't want to hear about your ankle.
Oh.
I don't want to hear it.
I'm just saying, that's why I didn't hear it. It was a tough day for your boy yesterday. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I was gonna back Mangone, but I'm questioning my decisions right now. He's
That's
all
fine,
year he said he backed me against Snyder. Now he's already throwing the just little glimmer of an ankle in there.
I don't need you on my side. If you want to be dumb enough to go the other way, that's fine. That's your terrible.
I mean, I'm definitely on Rubio against you again because he
fine.
whooped you. Snyder, I don't think I could get on the Snyder trade though. He looked pretty rough out on the court.
I needed to hear that, so that's good to hear. I'll make sure to play that back the entire way there.
I think you're drawing dead against Rubio. He's like dieting too and stuff. I mean,
Rubio's actually dieting. That's good to hear.
I mean, all I know is we went to eat after golf that day, and he refused a milkshake. He refused it. He said, "I'm on a diet."
That's shocking. Rubio doing the diet is definitely shocking.
Yeah.
Rubio's kind of a tinier guy. So what does a diet entail for him? Like, is he simply not eating?
I mean, he still took down like 2 roast beefs and some curly fries. He just turned down the milkshake.
Doesn't sound like much of a diet.
I mean, he turned down the shake is all I can say. He's trying to
got to start somewhere, JT. It's got to start somewhere. We'll give him that.
Oh, God. All right, so we're way off track, but there's only 4 games. And, I mean, there's news now, right? So Tyrese Halliburton is questionable. That basically changes the entire slate, whether he's in or he's out. That game, let's take a look, because I know that game is in San Antonio. That's an 8:30 game, so you're going to have the Toronto-Washington and Philly-Dallas game first. It's not surprising, right? These games at this time of the year where you've got Carlisle and Popovich, there's going to be mayhem. We know that for the Spurs, Keldon Johnson is out, but Devin Vassell is in. Believe Trey Jones is in it well. Refusing a milk shove is like refusing a lap dance. My goodness.
That's a good one, Kevin.
That's a good one, Kevin. That's a good one, Kevin. Go ahead, hit the like button. 184, 460 watching. We're on our way. Let's get to 330 likes. 330 likes today.
Travis, I got another one too, because we don't ever want to get to this late. So I'm getting this list. I got this list going for the parties. We got to be organized. I got to get it to Amber so she can get the food and the Coors Light for JT, all the different stuff. We got to make sure we're covered. Yeah. So I have the list going of like because half the people are going to stay in the house, half will be in the hotel, basically. We just so I had JT fully in the hotel camp. I had everyone pretty much in the right category. I never dreamed JT would want to get in there. So right away he's like, "Oh, I want in the house. I don't want to drive after the day." He was the only one. I mean, that's how you get after. You don't make ankle excuses. He said, "I want in the house. I'm going to take DC. I'm going to take Stevie down this year. I don't need to go anywhere. It's lights out."
Again, you don't listen. I just said I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be good to go. Don't you worry.
What'd you bring it up for in the first place?
Are you?
I just thought it was funny that we both had situations on the same day. I actually am curious if he's
Snyder dropped a tree on himself. Is that what you said? What does that even
mean?
He
dropped a tree on himself.
How do you drop a tree on yourself?
I mean, Snyder's strong, but I don't know if he can be picking up.
Snyder isn't strong.
That's
Do we really think he's strong?
I mean,
Snyder's in the chat right now. And Snyder, I'm not making
chat.
an excuse. I mean, I'm just curious if you're seeing a specialist like AP said. I mean, AP.
He's like the guy on the brawny paper towels.
Yeah. Listen,
Snyder, you dropped a tree on your leg? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Snyder, what did the specialist say? What's the injury update? It's
did he seriously go to a specialist?
It's 5:03. It's 5:03. Your injury report is 3 minutes late, Snyder. Let's go. That shit.
Yeah, listen, Pete Lally 10. Listen, you say built an excuse. Slide in the DMs. No one slides in to bet against me. So slide on in, my guy. Like no one does.
I slid in for the Rubio.
Yeah, I know you will. We're obviously going.
I can't bet on Snyder though. Snyder sucks on the court. I'm going to bet on Snyder on the golf course against some people though. Snyder's decent on the golf course.
The real question is, do I have to play a double header? Do I do Snyder and then Rubio, or do I get a back-to-back? How does that work?
I mean, that's why we got to schedule it out. I mean, you can have like one each day. It's up to you.
Snyder's my first game. He doesn't want to be playing in jeans, and he doesn't want to be, on a bender. You know how Snyder is. So he's got that built-in excuse.
So Snyder is disputing the earlier report that he was at a specialist today. He says he hasn't been to a doctor since high school. His parents didn't believe in vaccines. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned about being in the house with Snyder now because he might just be a big
as long as he doesn't sneak into the bed like Titletown did with AP that year. He snuck right up next to him. You'll be okay.
Give a sweet little wraparound. All right, people, hit the like button. Tell us whether or not you think this.
Wow. Hold on, JT. I keep interrupting you, but I mean, look at Mr. Work sliding in here. I called this guy out yesterday. He told me, no, I want no peace. He started talking about Toomer. Toomer's not going to slow him down against Mr. Travis Mangone, though. Whoa, what do we think about that?
I saw. So here's my first thought. I saw this quote in the Discord from Joey about having a tumor in his wrist, and I kind of discounted it. I was like, he's being funny. What? A tumor in your wrist? Is it benign? Is it malignant? Are you going to be with us? Is this like your farewell tour when you come out? You're gonna
matchup versus Travis. It's a wrap after that?
Yeah. I mean, I need to know a little bit more detail.
I have a bunch of 1-on-1s booked, and the Mikey one might be happening too. I'm looking for some 2-on-2s.
Mikey isn't coming.
Mikey said he's trying his best.
Isn't coming. Some people I know for a fact aren't coming. Like how I had the list I just talked about, JT in there.
Yeah. What did
Mikey's on the not coming list.
Oh, really?
He's definitely not coming.
That's unfortunate.
I
do want to get a 2-on-2 game booked. I'm looking for some 2-on-2 action, like more so. So I definitely would rather have a 2-on-2 game. I don't want to have all 1-on-1s. 2-on-2 sounds like a fun time as well. So
what about me and JT? Who can me and JT play against?
I mean, you can play against. I mean, you said you take Cedom on with anyone. I mean,
yeah, I definitely would. Yeah.
Listen, there are things that I'm very good at. Basketball is not one of those things.
You're excellent mojo on the team. We aren't losing, JT. We're gonna get a dub.
I mean, I can set a screen. I mean, you want an ankle taken out.
Yeah, that's what I want. I know my teammates.
Yeah, there you go.
Mangone and JSU, we could definitely take them.
All right, Sarugi W is in here looking for attention. We lost most of these people since the changeover here, but 7-year-old son last Wednesday just got a tumor taken out of his head. Doing okay. More surgeries come. Yeah, we pray for you if that's real, Sarugi. Okay. We're going to get back. Travis just got PTSD from JT's ankle comment.
Oh, of course, Uncle T's in. I already given all these speeches. Like, no one has ever taken more pop plus EV bets than Uncle T. I make fun of him every time. Like, if he's ever got a bet, it's even worse than Titletown. Like, it's embarrassing. That dude has never played a single match as an underdog in his life. Like, ever.
Uncle T?
Never as a dog. You've never seen him play a match. Like, last year, Snyder's ready to play. He can't wait to get in there. And he did say no to Mangone, too. Mangone got mad on Sunday. He said, okay, Uncle T, step up to the plate. And Uncle T wanted no part of old
He said I had to play him Thursday or whatever.
Yeah, he wanted no part of sweet Travis.
Eat My Shorts is getting upset with us. just keep rumbling about nothing. That was kind of our plan. But
we can go longer. I mean, we could go longer if we really
want. I mean, we still got all kinds of time here.
Plenty of time. K. Fleek Burner says Uncle T has a torn labia. I mean, that's hurtful. That's aggressive, K. Fleek. I'm not even saying that about Glock, just because he won't take a sky picture in a tornado. I mean, come on. It's not a big deal. 213 likes, 519. We're looking for 330, and maybe we'll start talking about the games. No, just kidding. All right. So
the hard part about the slate, too, is like a lot of it's going to depend on the news and stuff.
Correct.
Get closer. It's almost like a baseball show early where we don't have lineups yet.
Yeah. Like, what do you want me to do? Be like, man, let me analyze the Spurs and Pacers like really in depth. Where like I don't know what the Spurs are actually going to do, and I don't know if Tyrese Halliburton's playing. Like, it is a hard situation. We could talk in circles for hours and hours about it if we want, but it's definitely a difficult spot without the news.
So let's start there. Let's do this a little backwards because it is a 4-game slate and we're just having a good time here. Go ahead, hit the like button. If you're not a member at Run Pure Sports already, JTHayes 15% off your first month's payment. And Glock will give you a personally signed picture of the Texas sky. Indianapolis, Indiana Pacers at San Antonio. Indy's favored by 6 currently, 237.5. And this is what we're all talking about. Tyrese Halliburton is questionable for the Pacers. Obviously, if he's in, good play. If he's out, you have now multiple Pacers, depending on the starting lineup, that are in play against one of the worst, if not the worst, defenses in the NBA. On the San Antonio side, Popovich not happy with Rick Carlisle stealing all the injury attention, so he decided to do some wild things himself. Keldon Johnson has been ruled out, but Trey Jones is going to play. For some reason, they're going to bring Devin Vassell back. Isaiah Roby and Romeo Langford are out. Malachi Branham is questionable. Travis, let's start with you here. Not necessarily whether or not you have a lean on what Halliburton does, because we don't know. The Pacers team, unlikely to get into the playoffs here. It looks like maybe several teams, such as the Thunder are doing now, are going to go back and revert to the tank. But break it down for us. If Halliburton's in, what do you have interest in? And then if he's out, are you prioritizing Buddy Hield? Are you looking at Nembhard? Are you looking at TJ McConnell, who on DraftKings comes at a significant discount, given that the Pacers have been healthy for quite some time?
Yeah, the Pacers situation is really, really interesting because obviously if Halliburton sits, you're going to have to like some of these options. And if Halliburton plays, well, doesn't that make him a really great play right off the bat as a stud that you want to play in your lineups for sure? Also, this is one of those slates where like value is not like amazing, right? I mean, no one is ever racing to be like, give me 2 to 3 Spurs in my lineup, right? Now you're not getting that many Spurs in your lineup, but you're getting enough of them, right? Like Doug McDermott, because you don't have values popping up. Jeremy Sochan's popping up as a mid-tier value. Trey Jones is kind of interesting. If you wanted to save at the center spot, Charles Bassey, because he's an elite fantasy producer, is kind of popping on the teams. But I'm definitely thinking about how do I handle these Spurs, because I understand how the Spurs situation goes. It can be definitely very frustrating at times. Also, Rick Carlisle is not a kind coach when it comes to rotations, right? You just can't assume that these plays are safe. Like I see people, put Jalen Smith on their teams, right? From some of the projections around the industry. And here's the problem. I want to know what his ownership is going to be, because do we need value? And Big T talks about, what's a 3.3K guy going to do? How much is that going to hurt you? But I want to know, what will his ownership be? For one, I think that's going to be really important. And what does it do for my full lineup? So I think people are looking at options like that. Also, there's going to be a lot of Pacers on teams, and it's going to all hinge on the Halliburton news of how you're handling it. I think Buddy Hield, regardless if Halliburton's in or out, good play, becomes a better play if Halliburton's out. Nembhard and Mathurin would get pretty nice boosts if Halliburton is out. I think Mathurin is better than Nembhard if Halliburton is in. And then overall, that center position, Miles Turner is just naturally in play just because of the upside he has at 7.4K. Also a flow chart play against the Spurs. We know any center against the Spurs can absolutely dominate. So we are going to be looking at playing Pacers and Spurs today. I doubt you're just going to X them all out and look at the other 3 games. But we just have to think about how do we play them and how many do we play? That's really the key overall. And again, the Halliburton news is going to kind of dictate how I handle rostering these players here.
My rule of thumb recently with the Spurs in particular have been to take chances on the lower price ones. So crossing out the Keldon Johnsons. I think you can cross off Devin Vassell, Big T, simply because he hasn't played since January 2nd. We know that Popovich's rotations are a little bit wild. However, Vassell was a guy who was getting a lot of play earlier this season. He played very well. He's a guy they're developing. What are you looking at in this game? Of course, if Halliburton's in, are you going to play Miles Turner with him? If he's out, what are your priorities?
Yeah. So first of all, I'll make it easy and talk about the Spurs, who finally broke that massive losing streak the other night versus Utah or whoever it was. But I just can't see really going to any of these price guys. I agree exactly with what JT said. If I play Spurs, it's going to be the cheaper ones like Bassey. I guess I could be talked into like Trey Jones just because he's a point guard and he's only $5K. But I mean, I'm never playing 6,400 for Zach Collins. Never really. I mean, 5K for Bates Diop is even expensive. That's really even Sohan is not really. I mean, he's killed me so many nights. I know JSU peels to him, but the Spurs do not want to win games. They could do anything with this rotation. I really do not want to go here, but I mean, you can take some stabs on the cheaper ones. Mainly Bassey's the one that sticks out as a pretty good play to me. But Indiana, like Sweet Travis said, no matter what happens, these guys are going to be in play. If Halliburton plays, he's basically a lock for me or close to a lock. If he doesn't play, I mean, you're going to need 4 or 5 of these guys for sure. There's just the Spurs play no defense. They want to lose. I mean, it's just the best. It's been the best matchup in basketball all year, honestly. Whenever the Spurs, Pistons, these teams that play no D, I just target them. And we're on a smaller slate too. And these price points are so low for Indiana. The downside is what Travis said too, where they can do some funky stuff too with the rotations. But the good news is we're playing tournaments. We take chances anyways. And I mean, if Halliburton's out, I'd be stunned if 5 or 6 of these guys doesn't massively pay off their price tags. You could guess wrong and guess the wrong ones for sure. 100% you could. But I mean, like TJ McConnell would just be a mortal lock at 3,600 with Halliburton out, and these other guards too. Even Nwara's got some time. Mathurin. The problem is these price tags, right? They're just free, all of them. I mean, all the way down the list. Even Buddy Hield at 5,600 is just free. Even Miles Turner. I mean, he's 7,400, but look at what he's done lately. I mean, he's been good. He's played minutes. He's played, 37, 36, 32, 3 of the last 4, double-digit shots, over 40 fantasy points the last 3. He's just been good, and he gets the Spurs. So, yeah, for me, the Pacers are going to be one of the best spots of the night, even with Halliburton. If he's out, though, I mean, it's just – you got an easy slate on our hands for sure because you're just going to jam the Pacers. But everyone will too. I mean, these projections will pop off the page if he's out.
Yeah, and it becomes a situation where you're going to try and be a little bit different with your spend-ups because you're going to have 4, 5, maybe even 6 of these 3 to 5, 5,500, 5,600 guys, and then you're going to have your 2, 3 guys that are 9K and up. All right. Hit the like button. Follow me on Twitter at JTHayes Jr. And if you're not a member, sign up using code JTHayes15. Send Glock a message in the DM wishing him prayers for a safe recovery from the tornado that's about to ravage the state of Texas. We're moving on to the next game, Toronto at the Wizards. Toronto favored by 222.5 total. Monty Morris is still out, but Kristaps Porzingis returns for Washington. And Washington also signed someone named Jay Huff. So not that that's big news. Big T, we'll stick with you. Looks like some of the prices here on these Raptors have finally come down. Most notably, Fred VanVleet at only 8,400 against a Wizards team that not known for its defensive prowess against the point guard position. What do you like here, Toronto, Washington?
Yeah, and like you said, you're going to have to pick your studs if the Indiana news breaks the right way. And playing some of these guys could get you a little different because I don't see a ton of ownership on the Toronto side. These prices and projections don't really pop that hard in the optimizers. So I could see being different with some of these guys. Like Van Vliet, his price is finally down. Siakam, they just haven't shown a ton. I know Van Vliet had the personal. I never even heard what it was. Do we even know what was the personal issue, or did they ever even say?
He is a proud new father.
Oh, that's what it was?
This?
Why did it say personal then? I thought it was, yeah. So he was just having a kid?
His wife was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying, by no means am I suggesting that only women can have children, Big T.
I know it's traumatizing when you're in there and you look down south of the equator. You get that's hard work too. I mean, that traumatized me. I'm not taking full credit as she did most of the work, but I still had to endure a few traumatizing situations through it all. Yeah, I want at least like 10% credit.
Well, I mean, you put the ingredients into the
that also
into the
got to get good bench time to get there.
Absolutely.
But, yeah,
as you were
saying. So I don't love the Toronto pieces, honestly, but the ownership matches that. And a lot what I do, again, I know we've talked about it all show, but it's going to depend on what you think Halliburton does, because if Halliburton's out, then a lot of these guys are better plays. But if Halliburton's in, I don't really see myself using these guys. And if somehow we don't know by 7 o'clock tip-off, I'll probably just end up fading these guys for the most part and just take my chances with the late game. We got studs we can use. There's other pieces we can use. So I don't see a ton from Toronto. And the Washington side with Porzingis back in the mix, I just don't see it. It's more of the same where, yeah, if they roll Halliburton out early, I want to take some chances on different studs. Like Porzingis is only projected for like 40, Bradley Beal, high 30s. Their projections don't stick out. But one of these guys will win someone a slate with these Pacers guys if it matters. So I don't know. Not super into this early game though.
So let me just stay with you for a second, because I do want to talk about Fred VanVleet, right? Forget about the narrative of the new data side. 8,400, that's a $1,300 price drop here against the Wizards. Now, the downside, okay, the Raptors are fully healthy. No interest in him if we don't have the news about Halliburton.
No, I have some interest. I shouldn't act like so. Let's just look at the top overall. I mean, you got obviously Luka.
Just because, and when I do my first look, there's usually only 2 or 3 players on any given slate, no matter how large, where the prices just jump off the page at you like, oh my God, that's an underprice. And to me today, VanVleet is number 1.
Yeah, I mean, and if he's in consideration for the Eiffel Tower, I got to take more notice of him, because I never fade an Eiffel Tower play. I mean, I agree. His price looks cheap. I should have more interest than I do, so I'll give some interest with you.
Okay. Sweet Travis, hopefully the ice is doing some magic on that ankle and you are going to be in a position to not disappoint us. But talk to us now about Toronto and Washington.
Well, I'm definitely going to disappoint Big T because he's on the other side of me in one of the games, but that's okay. I won't disappoint you, JTHayes. I'd never disappoint you. Let's keep this thing moving along, though. Let's talk about some of these studs here in this game. And it's definitely not a glamorous one, but the one point that Big T's bringing up is the reason to kind of like VanVleet, and the reason you kind of like him too, is if you look at the studs, like there's just no one that sticks out. Like, does anyone stick out to you and you're like, I need to play these options, right? Like there's nothing on this slate that sticks out completely. Now, if Joel Embiid somehow got ruled out, which listen, Doc Rivers can do some crazy stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't. I know he's probable, but I'm just calling it out. I don't think any of these guys are absolute musts up top, where getting different with these options is definitely not bad, especially with him being at that 8,400 tag. One reason not to mind him is if you do get different with someone like Luka or one of these other studs up top that's above 10K, now I have to dive into some of these really bad values. So Fred VanVleet could fit more of that balanced build, right? Or you go to the Washington side and maybe try and play a Porzingis, Beal, or Kuzma. It's kind of like the Bulls situation. You're considering playing them because they're going to be lower owned and have upside for studs, but you're also under the impression that between DeRozan, between Levine, and between Vucevic, all of them have bust-type potential, right? So just think that's worth calling out there. I think if you look for some value in this game, if you're trying to pivot off some of these Pacers or Spurs, what's your thoughts on DeLon Wright? I mean, 4.6K feels like an interesting pivot, especially if we see Halliburton in. Wouldn't that make us be a little more interested in someone like DeLon Wright at that price tag? I don't think he's that bad. Denny Avdia, we know he can be a pretty solid play at that 5K range. I don't hate him as an option. So I think there are some value plays here that if we do not get the Halliburton news to go our way, we should consider a couple of these guys. It's like Wright and Denny. They'll be very low-owned plays. They won't be super popular, but I think they're like the tier 2 values that if you just kind of cancel out this game, those would be some of the value plays that we would be kind of considering here on the slate.
They're the value plays you consider if you want to lose money tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, these values aren't good, right? Like that's the problem. My personal thought process on the slate overall is I would like to eat some of these Spurs Pacers values, think about how I play them, and then get contrarian with maybe a stud or two. Because I think that's the really good way to do it on this slate. I just don't see any studs standing out as really good plays. I think we've had slates recently where it's been hard to fade guys like Damian Lillard in amazing spots. I definitely prefer eating the chalk values and pivoting to the studs instead, but I just think they're in the conversation, Big T. I don't think you just completely X them out of the pool.
So here's the challenge, right, Big T? That game, the one that we're talking about, Toronto-Washington, starts at 7. We know that with Carlisle, we're unlikely to get Halliburton news. I hope we do, but we're unlikely to get it until about 8 o'clock. And your preferred path here is to not play these cheaper guys in the Washington game and go ahead and focus on the Spurs and the Pacers and hope that news breaks your way.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we have options that are comparable in the later games too. Like the Clippers game, even I don't usually like Clippers, but they've lost three in a row. They're playing Golden State. These games are getting bigger than they've been throughout the year, where these teams need to win games to move up and stay out of that play-in stuff, because right now they're in 5th and 6th in the West. They don't want to get in that play-in mix. These games are starting to matter more. And I just can fall back on those. Like, I trust anybody against the Spurs. So even if Halliburton's in, I'm just going to have options. Like, I'll pick any of these guys against the Spurs if I have to. Like, I won't feel bad playing 3,500 for Andrew Nembhard. Like, that's fine. He's free. Like, he's not expensive. And I can play Kawhi. I'm fine playing Kawhi, Paul George. We'll get to that game in a minute. But I'm fine with those pieces. I'm just not going to force early because the problem is if you assume either way and assume wrong, like say you assume Halliburton's in, so you build early based on that, lock a few guys in, and then Halliburton gets rolled out, you're in big, big trouble to catch up. You just almost have to plan on it. So I almost want the news before I make decisions. And if that means we don't have it before the first 2 games, then I just don't want to lock that much stuff in. Almost like the Mangone route that he usually likes. Wait for the news and adjust. I was still mad yesterday, and I know it didn't work out perfectly with Philly, but once that Philly news hit with Embiid out, I wished I had just all my teams to make decisions on that and go with it. And it probably wouldn't have helped me, just to be honest, because Harden, I thought he was kind of a lock after that, and he didn't do that good. So it really wouldn't have helped me in that case. But I mean, it's a 4-game slate where you guys keep saying it. There's not that many great plays. This game's just going to be the nuts when the news hits right. So I don't know.
The key that it unlocked yesterday, Big T, is you not only got those Sixers guys, but you could get them in. You also got the Mo Bamba thing. I felt like some people locked themselves out of a unique build where everyone's playing Vanderbilt, everyone's playing Beasley, but you can make the argument that now being able to grab that 3,500 Bamba was really key, and people felt like they couldn't do it because they're like, well, if I'm playing Giannis and I'm locked into other stuff, I had Giannis at my center. So, like, it did muddy some stuff up. So the case to be made about the starters is a good point. The one thing I'm just going to mention with this Raptors and Washington game, I think you could grab like one piece, right? Like I think you could plug in a DeLon Wright if you wanted, and just like one piece. You don't want to I think you don't want to overstack this first game. That would be my biggest fear. I'd be okay grabbing one, but like, yeah, just think about how you do it. Because again, that Indiana Spurs game is going to be pretty interesting. And I'm curious to hear later on, Big T, if there's any Clippers or Warriors. I guess you could make the case that going Warriors in a balanced build could kind of be intriguing to help you out. But that Clippers Warriors game is definitely going to be sketchy. And I understand these games are getting bigger, but that is one I'm curious to get your guys' take as we kind of keep diving into this slate.
All right, hit the like button. We're going to 330 likes. We're at 269, even though we like the number 69. That's just not enough. So we need to get to 330. Hit the like button. Snyder is in here with a fraudulent code. The code Snyder15 does not work. Sorry. Go ahead, use code JTHayes15 if you're not already
use the code Snyder15, JT, a tree falls on your ankle. That's how
and by the way, Snyder, you put that code in there again and you're going in timeout. So JTHayes15 for 15% off of your first month's payment. Uncle T says he was number 269. Thank you, Uncle T, for hitting the like button.
I got a problem with that. Why did Uncle T wait so long to hit it? He was in here earlier, just hanging out, not hitting the like. That's hurtful.
I mean, it's upsetting. It's upsetting that he doesn't just come in and hit the like immediately, but at least he got around to it, right? I mean, Philly is going into Dallas. Philly's the only team on this slate on a back-to-back, and Dallas favored by 3. Over-under is 229. Biggest news here is that Joel Embiid is going to play tonight after Doc held the entire slate hostage for most of the day yesterday with a midday downgrade to rule him out right at the time that the lineups were due. Travis, we'll go ahead. We'll stick with you. Dallas, Philly hasn't been really ideal to be playing Luka or Kyrie here as they kind of get accustomed to each other. A little bit of Luka's production has shifted over to Kyrie and made them really difficult to play in tournaments at those elevated price tags. On the Philly side, big win last night in Miami, blew them out a little bit surprisingly because the game was in Miami, but now Joel Embiid is back. He is going to be playing tonight. Is Embiid a priority to you? To me, he looks like perhaps the only piece of this game that I have any interest in.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I'm sure this is, like, Big T's curious about this too, but, like, guys like Maxey and Harden and, like, they're all popping up a ton. And, like, I think it's because, like, they played well yesterday and, like, just the sites, like, are just, like, adjusting for it. And sometimes they do that. I think it's, like, an overcorrection to how they played, especially with Embiid back. And Dallas plays at a slower pace, right? I'm not as excited about some of these, like, Philadelphia options. Like, you can make the case Maxey has a ceiling at his price, right? Maxey certainly can put up a 40-point fantasy game. Harden,
if he starts.
Yeah, but even if he didn't start, I think he could with the use he's off the bench. Like, he could.
The minutes have been all over the place for him. There hasn't been really any consistency, and the fact that he played, I think, 30-something minutes last night.
Correct.
On a back-to-back.
The biggest worry to have is what's the ownership? And I do think the ownership on these Sixers is as you know, the gift says it's too damn high, right? I just think it
all depends on Halliburton. Again, I hate to keep circling back to it, but if Halliburton's in, these guys are going to be very high owned, like Travis is saying. If he's out, though, then they could actually be the flip side and be too low owned.
Correct. And that's that's like the magical thing about this slate. It's like everything hinges on Halliburton. I have people asking me in chat, what's your thoughts on this? Are the Spurs going to be chalky? It's like, I don't know. It depends on the Halliburton news. I'm handcuffed right now. I got to just wait for it. So
I honestly hope, and this is the GPP side of me, and I love tournaments, as everyone knows. I hope we don't get the news before 7:30. That's just my personal opinion. I want people to have to decide. I want them to have to make decisions, because when they have to make decisions, that's when it's good for us, because we don't mind making decisions.
Yeah, and people will lock in to these Sixers. They will, for sure.
Definitely.
And I need to know what their ownership's going to be. It's just a very important
Tobias and Maxey, if we don't get Halliburton news, they have to be at least 30+. They have to be. They're too cheap.
On a 4-game slate, because we have a Toronto-Washington game where everyone's like, okay, I don't love these plays. Yeah. We have a Clippers-Golden State game where everyone's scared to death to touch guys in that game as well. Like, eventually you have to start playing someone. Like, and yeah, you can make the case. Harris's price tag, there is upside, right? It's kind of like the Josh Hart thing that we've talked about on the first show we did together this year. Like, the price feels low where the upside is there, but
I don't know if the upside's there. I might be on JT's side. I just don't see it.
Well, I'm saying the public and the projections.
Definitely, I agree with you there. Definitely.
That's what I'm getting. I'm not saying
these are the edges. Like, people are gonna play these guys, and could they get 27? Absolutely. Could they get 40? I highly doubt it without an injury or foul trouble.
Harris, so the only reason, I mean, I played Harris and Maxey last night. Those were the two Sixers. The only reason I played those guys, despite the prices, was because, one, Maxey was starting with Embiid out. and then Harris gets more usage. He has not had the usage when all these guys are healthy.
He's just like these other veteran guys, the Drew Holidays. I could go down the list forever. These veteran dudes don't care about stats. If they don't need to do it, they're just not gonna do it. They're gonna Embiid, okay, Harden, go do it. I'll stand in the corner. I'll play defense. I'll rebound. It's pretty simple, I think.
So I want to point out one thing before we move on to our next game, and that is Snyder admitting, being completely wide open about the fact that he's taking performance-enhancing substances in his preparation for the match with you, Sweet Travis.
We did say that was allowed, though. We said you're allowed to cheat. You just got to get to the slab.
There's one key. There's only one rule, JT. It's bodies and no bows. That's it. That's the rule.
So
who had the video of these guys? Was it Bruce?
Bruce is the video.
The perfect angle. Where's Bruce at? Is he in the chat? Well, I wish we could show that video right now.
All right, so I'm mistaken. PEDs are acceptable, and honestly, that's the way life should be.
I think it should be that way at baseball. You're the baseball guy. I wish it was that way in baseball. The football might be the one I don't. They'd kill people in football. Baseball, though, it should be encouraged.
I did a report when I was in school. It was why steroids should be in baseball, not shouldn't. It was great. It was a lot of fun to research.
I mean, there you are discriminating against baseball players. I mean, you can't kill someone with a 130-mile-an-hour fastball to the head?
I don't think so.
Again, JT, it's all about the chicks, right? Chicks take the long ball. Okay, let's get the long ball back in the game.
Snyder says he couldn't throw a ball in the ocean. All right.
Well, what's going to be different this year, Snyder? You might be in the gym. You're not working on your jump shot.
Hit the like button.
I want Mangone, Snyder. So I don't know though. He was whining about the ankle. How much can I have, Snyder? I want Mangone.
All right.
Again, Snyder, if you don't think I have the heart by now, then I'm sadly mistaken that you haven't gotten to know me enough. I'll say that.
I do. I'm definitely. I want Snyder, Mitch. I want Travis.
All right. The gauntlet has been laid down. Uncle T, go ahead and let us know which side you're on. For those of you watching who are not yet members of Run Pure Sports, go ahead. There's only one code that you can use to get 15% off of your first month's payment. It's JTHayes 15.
We put Hammer up. Hammer, you're not eating your laptop. Just stop talking. There's some people that talk to you. You're not eating your laptop, so just settle down over there.
Who's eating their laptop?
Hammer 74. He says if I win, he'll eat his laptop. You won't eat your laptop.
Hammer's wolfing. Hammer's an OG.
He is an OG, but I know he's not doing it. I'm just telling you the truth.
He might not think he needs to.
Steve Zhang has an important question. How tall is Mangone?
Well, definitely not the tallest, but
definitely not the tallest. He leads out.
Put a number on it. Put a number on it.
The exact number that the doctor has told me before is 5'7", 5'7" and 3/4. 5'7" and 3/4. So we round it up to 5'8".
Oh, you did not just pull the 3/4 out.
Yeah. I was told it once, and I thought it was funny. And one time at football, they're like, we put you 5'9" on the sheet, and I was like, well, that's not correct, but that's fine.
How many centimeters? How many centimeters is that?
Oh, you got the 3/4 in.
5'7" and 3/4. Don't short me, motherfucker. All right.
Well, the good news is I'm not the shortest at RPS. JSU is. We got Mangone still towers over JSU. So
Tambo's got to be shorter than you too. Tambo's a little fella.
Tambo might be a little shorter than me. I can't remember.
Tambo's stocky. Tambo's stocky though. He's he's thick.
The best trick we were trying to play on Allie was we told Allie that Tambo came from jail. Like he was in jail not so many years ago with the stocky build and all tatted up. It was so funny.
Oh my God. All right. Last game of the night. Clippers at the Warriors. Clippers favored by 3.5 for the Warriors. Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins are still out. So is Andre Iguodala. Jordan Poole is going to be playing, though, and on the Clippers side, we have some news to come. Marcus Morris and Ivica Zubac are questionable. Big T, I'll stay with you here. You've got Russell Westbrook there at $7K. He's been playing a Ty Lue rotation, which means he may play 28 minutes, he may play 39 minutes, but he's 7K. He's been paying off this tag. Of course, you've got Kawhi and Paul George. And then on the Warriors side, you've got Dante DiVincenzo. Jordan Poole still a bit too expensive. What are your thoughts here, the Clippers and the Warriors?
I mean, first of all, we got to talk about the OMG father. C-Dome looks like a little fella. Well, that's because he is a little feller. I mean, he can go on and post videos. I'm pumping up 280, showing his arms with the tats in the freaking camera. It's all an illusion. It's all the visual version of saying 5 3/4 or whatever, Travis. That's the visual version, is him trying to intimidate people. The truth of the matter is he is a little fella, and I'm going to be giving him the 2 small for about 7. The game won't last more than 7 minutes. So 7 minutes or less, I'll be giving him the 2 small over and over. So that's the truth. That's a good point he made.
So you're calling a first-round knockout here for you versus
there's a really good chance of it being a shutout, like 21 Zippo. Same score I gave Travis on my slab, by the way, 21 Zippo. But to the late game, I actually like Kawhi a lot tonight. I don't say that often, but I really do think this game's big for the Clippers. They've lost 3 games in a row. They're on that 6 line, like I said. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but you got Dallas in the 7. You got the Lakers, Portland, a couple teams down there a little lower. I don't know. They don't want to be in that play-in. So I think they play good tonight. And Kawhi's been a little bit better. I mean, he's played high 30s minutes almost every night, and it's almost an illusion that we think of him not playing much, because since, I think Travis even said it, since December or something, he's just been playing minutes. And on a slate without star power, I just think he might be the best play of the slate for me. I think we see a big Kawhi game tonight. Paul George is decent too as his minutes ramp back up. I don't mind him, but I definitely like Kawhi more. Westbrook, I just don't think – I've been playing him actually too, but the last 2 games, 25 and 28 minutes, and they lost. I think the 39-minute game was the high-scoring game, if I remember right. So that game could have even been a little fluky minutes-wise. I just think 7K is too high for him. I wouldn't be surprised if Zubac – is he questionable or something? I don't know for sure if he's going to play.
Zubac and Morris are questionable.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if those guys sit, which would open up like a Batum value. I mean, he's 3,300. I could see him playing high 20s minutes at 3,300 against Golden State, who also likes to go somewhat small. I could just see this game going small, which opens up guys like Batum at 3,300 if those guys are out. Terrence Mann at 3,900. Even Gordon on a smaller slate if these guys are out. Again, I'm assuming Zubac and Marcus Morris are out, which would make the game go small, which is what Golden State wants to do anyway. So I could definitely just see like I don't know, what do you call it? A gentleman's agreement between the 2 teams. Okay, let's just go small and let's play small versus each other tonight. I could see it. I actually like this game a decent amount. So that's one of the reasons I was okay fading the early 2 games. I look at the Golden State guys. I almost think every single one of them is either too cheap or right in that range of being a value. And I mean, like Jordan Poole feels slightly heavy. I just think he's a better play than like Van Vliet, even though I just like this game. I think there's a bunch of scoring in this game, and I think their people are lower owned than you would think. Outside of like Dante should be pretty high owned. Clay keeps getting ownership. I mean, Clay's 78, Poole's 8,200. I know Titletown on the playback the other night was kind of saying how much higher owned Poole or Clay always is. I didn't fully believe it, but then he was, and his projections right there where a lot of people will just play Clay over Poole. So I think Poole's pretty sneaky. You don't really need to go to any of the bench. I know Lamb's got a little bit of a boost lately. He's 3,200. Again, a lot's going to be decided on Halliburton. I know we keep saying it, but it really is just the whole slate built into what he does. If he's out, I mean, Lamb's a terrible play. If Halliburton plays, though, Lamb becomes like a little bit of a pivot off of some of the other cheap guys that you could play. And in a small ball game, I could see Lamb getting an extra run in there at 3,200. So overall, I like this game a lot. Draymond at 6,300, I like a lot. I like this game. So I'm okay building a team with just the last 2 games, honestly, which lets me view all of the news officially. I can even get a starting lineup for Indiana and the Spurs and make all my decisions because I am okay with the late game. I really am. The plays aren't incredible. Don't get me wrong. But it's a 4-game slate. We talked about the first 2. There's not that many mispriced guys in the first 2. And like Travis said, the friggin' Tobias and Maxey are going to be high owned, and I don't even think they have upside. So this slate all comes together, and I like the late game. So I'll be interested to hear what you guys think.
Thoughts on Plumlee if Zubac sits? He's 5K.
I just think it goes slow. I think it goes small. So I'm not going to like any of the big. Even Looney, I'm not going to like Looney. I'm going to like all the guys that play small.
All right. 2 more likes to get to 330. Sweet Travis, Clippers, Warriors. What do you see here?
Yeah, I definitely don't hate the Plumlee idea, but I understand it could go small. And if it does go small and you're playing that script, you got to consider Bones Highland at 3K, right? Like you kind of would have to. I know
the same thing's happening that happened to him at Denver, though. And I keep hearing all the chatter. Everyone wants him to go back in the rotation, but I'm just telling you, like the Clippers want to start winning a few games. He's totally out of the rotation. I just don't. I've seen it in Denver. I just don't trust. I hope people go to Bones because I just don't see it.
It could be Man too, right? Like, I mean, there's options down here, right? That could slide into that role that you.
Like I like Man way more than Bones.
Yeah, there's definitely options to get creative with, right? I mean, even Norman Powell at 4.9. I think it's not the worst idea on the slate. I mean, we could see if it's a small ball lineup, right? He's definitely going to play a pile of minutes because he can play the 4, the 3, the 2. I mean, he could play the 1 if they needed him to, in more of like a spot-up shooter kind of role next to Kawhi and George. So I do think overall, Norman Powell at 4.9 is not the craziest idea. Also, these Golden State guys, like Draymond, yeah, I like Draymond Green. I don't mind him, but like there's usage to go around, right? Like Dante DiVincenzo at 5.6. That guy couldn't have a ceiling game. He could certainly get you 40 DK points in this spot. Clay, we know what he can do, and he's guard and forward eligible at 7.8K. I definitely like Clay over Poole. I want to go back to the Kawhi point the Big T made, and I was arguing in the chat with people. People are saying, "Oh, Kawhi Leonard's, his minutes have been messed with, and now they're safe." Dude, they've been safe since January 8th. Now, to be fair, January 8th he got 18 minutes, but in the 21 games he's played since January 8th, only 4 games he's had under 32 minutes. You think a TNT game against Golden State, he's not going to get his at least 32 minutes? So I'm in on that. I'm not in on Tyler with the Russell Westbrook 19-1 triple-double because Russell Westbrook sucks. But
at least you can't ever make fun of a 19-1 bet, though. It was kind of my point about everybody made fun of the Wentz MVP. It was 50-1. Like, if you're ever making a 19-1 bet, like, you're going to lose most of the time. So I never – because you wouldn't want to book that. Like, okay, Travis – Tyler, you want to book it 100, 1,900? You're not booking that 1,900 to 100. I'm not. I don't want it that.
It's fair. I'm not dying to book that, but
I probably win it. To be fair, you probably win his 100, but when he peels you for 19, you're not going to like it.
I'm just staying on brand with Russell Westbrook. Sucks, right? Yeah. That's just the fun thing to do.
I'm
but
with you.
Not in on Russell Westbrook. Kerr apparently got 26-1, so interesting there. But yeah, I'm not on the Russell Westbrook kill today at 7K. I understand.
I don't understand Bones. So Bobby's in there chirping. You said it. Like, why are we what's the difference? Why is he suddenly in play tonight?
I think the reason why you could think about it is he has played like 15 to 16 minutes. He's only 3K. And like what it probably could do for your full lineup is intriguing. Is it the only issue
when has he played though? Am I looking at something wrong?
DNP last game.
Oh, did he DNP last? Okay, I didn't realize he.
The only game I even see minutes is versus Denver in a revenge.
Well, he did DNP the last one. That's a fair point. I was assuming the 3 were.
Look at the rotation on Sunday. Bobby said, "What was the rotation? He didn't play." I thought.
Yeah, no, it's definitely sketchier than you think. So
he did not play the other night. So if
what did he do on Sunday when he said the rotation?
Sunday must have been the game in Denver, but then they had a home game against the Wolves, where Terrence Mann played 22 minutes and Bones played 0.
So this Bones conversation leads to a really.
And it was versus Denver. Like it was a revenge. He hated Denver, so you can see why they would play him.
I think it leads to a really good point of value sucks on this slate if we don't get the Halliburton.
He's going to get you 0.
So why not go balanced, right? Why not why not don't go to these, like, people talk about Embiid, right? Oh, he's a good play. Like, man, I'm just a little sketched by it. And that's why the balance build is kind of intriguing to me, just because people might play these values and get like 6 DK points, and it just may not be enough for them. So that's my big fear on this.
Yeah.
Bobby's point here is with Zubac and Morris out is the reason why Bones would play. He's saying that Zoo was out on Sunday. That was the game in Denver. He played in the game against the Timberwolves, and that's why he thinks that Bones is going to get some run. Now, some run for a guy at 3K whose ceiling,
I think he's going to get 0 minutes.
Is 20, right? I mean, and the floor is like 3. So, well, I guess the floor is 0 technically, right? And a guy who could DMP. So
I just don't. Okay, so Bones' whole thing is offense. You have Russ, Kawhi, Paul George. Like, I don't see it at all. I've stroked Bobby a lot the last month. I got to let him know when I don't agree. I don't agree about Bones.
Bobby's great, but
lunch on it that he plays. Like, I'll bet lunch on it that he doesn't win anybody any money, which is all that matters. We can bet on that. I mean, could he get like a couple minutes? I think he gets 0, but
how would you measure that? How would you measure the fact that he's?
I mean,
like,
we can put what is he? 3K. I mean, he's got to get like, I don't know, 15 or something. Like, what's the number? Because I don't want him to play like 4 minutes when it's a blowout, and Bobby be like, "Oh, what's the number?" You guys set a number, and I'll bet Bobby lines. How many fantasy points?
Here's what I would say, Big T. He has to enter the game before the fourth quarter.
He doesn't even have to play in the first half for it to be declared a winner for Bobby.
No.
Oh.
No. In order. Well, I mean, that's fair.
He's got to be in the road. Like, he's got to get off the bench in the first. Like, everyone comes in the first quarter when they're playing.
Right.
Like, when all those starters are out, if he doesn't come in that second thing, then yeah, I mean, that's fine.
I think you could make the case to have like a line where like certain amount of minutes it's a void. Like, maybe it's like 10 to like 13, and then like that's where like the jump starts. I don't know.
Getting way too complex for a
just because I don't think he plays. Sure, Bob. We can just bet lunch. You don't get no blowout, right? That's where JT's point comes in. If he somehow comes in like the fourth quarter, you don't win. So let's just say the first half. Yeah, Bobby, there we go. First half minutes. I'm in for that. Lunch, 0. Won't play.
All right.
Big T, bet if you got Penrith money coming. Is Penrith struggling? I haven't looked too much at the golf.
Oh my God.
Beefy Layer, is he struggling? Penrith does suck, so he probably is struggling.
JT, can we go back to Snyder having a big tree falling on his ankle? Yeah, I mean, between the ankle issues.
How did this happen, though? Like, what's the backstory?
I told you guys this is way more interesting of a conversation. The Snyder tree on the ankle is funny.
Like, how? Like, what was the story?
I don't know. I assume he was just like probably dealing with the layered rough on the golf course, maybe.
And the tree just fell on him?
Maybe. I'm not
on
sure.
His ankle?
I guess.
All right. On that note, you did get to the 330, just barely, 352. That's fine. We are going to go ahead and get started with the plays of the day. We'll go ahead and we'll start with our guy, Sweet Travis. Sweet Travis, your play of the day.
All right, I'm not going to get too off the board today, right? You're not getting like Bones Highland or something crazy, right? It's a 4-game slate. It's not going to be the easiest for sure. Let's go with the guy that's shown some upside recently. Pretty good play here today. And it's in the late game. Let's go with Dante DiVincenzo. He's got that guard and forward eligibility. I do think they are going to need some of his shots. I think he's going to have a good game. And he fits that small ball build if they do go that route. Fits it really well. I think either way he's going to get some really nice minutes. So give me Dante DiVincenzo as the play of the day.
Dante DiVincenzo as the Sweet Travis play of the day. We'll save the workbench play of the day for last, and we'll talk about who's going to go ahead and get on the flight heading over to Paris, the Eiffel Tower play of the night. And look, it's tough here because I do like Van Vliet, but it is a fully healthy team. And we were talking, as we're talking through the game, sometimes this happens. You look and you see what the ownership is. You look and you see what the
I didn't mean to interrupt the Eiffel Tower, but a big log landed.
Big
I got
log.
a big log for you,
Big.
Snyder.
Does that mean he shit on himself?
Big log. What does that even mean?
Pain
Can I
is
double
temporary.
down on Travis? Snyder, how much can I get on Travis?
Pain is
Travis
temporary.
has got a big log ready to drop down on you too, there, Snyder.
All right. So upon further review, the Eiffel Tower play of the day, Big T brought it up, the differences in ownership. Klay Thompson expected to be 20% owned, but this has been just a fantastic spot. 4 opposing point guards all season long. It only gets better with the 0 defense that Russell Westbrook plays. It's Jordan Poole, 10% owned, 8,200. Jordan Poole is the Eiffel Tower play of the day. He will be getting on the jet and making that long, long trip from the West Coast. We now go to the workbench play of the day. You see Holden and Sweet Travis looking on quickly.
How come JT doesn't look? I mean, you don't want to see any bench time?
I'm busy getting my own. I'm over at the party house at the Eiffel Tower.
That's true. That's a good point.
Big T, the workbench play of the night.
So this is going to be perfect because I said I like the late game. I'm glad you both threw out a play that I liked in the late game too. So let's just keep this a nice show, and we'll let people be able to adjust based on the news. I'll go with the late guy too. I kind of talked about it, but I love Kawhi. I don't think he's that high owned tonight. 9,300. I think he's lower owned probably than even Westbrook. I think Westbrook might end up higher owned than him tonight. I think he could be the 3rd highest owned Clippers guy, and I absolutely love that build to start people on this free show. Kawhi, Poole, DiVincenzo, just for sake of argument, what does that even leave us with here?
That leaves us with about 25K.
Poole. Yeah, we got 5380 per spot left.
Yep.
That gives you all kinds of flexibility, even if you wanted to still play. Because if Halliburton's in, I do think you have to play him. Like, I would definitely play him against the Spurs. So even if that breaks that way, you could still play Halliburton with our core, and you got over 4,400 for your last 4 spots.
But
so much flexibility.
You're going to play Bassie for 3,800 in that.
Yep.
And then you've got right around 5K for the last 3 spots.
Those 3 might be in my own core. Like, that's how much I like the core we just gave to the people. That's what we do on Thursdays, though. We have some laughs. We give that core is going to ship. No matter what the news hits, that core can be played no matter what happens.
I like it. We've done this before, Big T. I think it was last year at the RPS party. We made a quick core of a lineup, a couple of 2v2s, and that was landing anywhere between 10 and 35 in the big one. So, I mean, this has worked out well.
This is the month where we start getting hot and shipping everything, too, because everyone's coming together for the party, all the good mojo. We got the final next week. March is going to be a good month for Rump here. Mark my words. We're on the upswing here.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you. It's been a pleasure on Thirsty Thursday to hang out with you guys. Good luck in your contest. Go ahead. Hit the like button on the way out if you didn't hit it yet for that core of the plays of the day. Go ahead. If you're not a member, use code JTHayes15, 15% off your first month's membership. Follow me on Twitter. Don't follow Snyder because all he's going to do is cry about his ankle.
Is that who you play this week? Is that what you said, Snyder?
No, I play Glock. So actually, no.
You do play Glock. I thought you said you didn't when I brought it up.
It's Snyder. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Snyder. You're going to
go ahead and send Glock a DM if you are a member and tell him that he's a coward.
Did I send one of those things out that I sent for Amber last week to give her the dub where I say cornhole bags if we get JT in the follows and the should I bury Snyder like that?
That didn't work out too well for you though.
No, she won. What do you mean? Amber got the dub.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it now, so I'm sending it for Snyder now. Enter code Snyder15. I was trying to help out my fellow Thursday. Did you see that, Travis? He just totally shunned me.